absolutely right to do the ban the box when it came to federal employment. We need to move forward across the board, and we need to address our criminal justice system and police accountability. We know we need to do that as an urgent matter. Hopefully we can do some of that this year, but I know we're going to be working at the state level too, where this is a major issue. So I hope both at the state level and at the federal level we can come together and do that. And let me just say this. Senator Mikulski, in my view, was a great senator. She is a great senator. You know, long before this last Star Wars movie came out, I said, when Senator Mikulski's with you, the Force is with you. And it's true. And when I think of Senator Mikulski, I think of two things. Somebody who understands that we're only strong as a state when every part of it is strong. Prince George's County, Southern Maryland, Baltimore City, Baltimore County, all the suburbs, east and west. All of them have their own strengths and dynamics, and we need to make sure we understand that. In Prince George's County, we have huge opportunities for economic growth. This is open for business, and we need to make sure small businesses and more minority-owned businesses take advantage of what this county has to offer. We need to strengthen the school system. A lot of work to do. We need to bring the FBI here, and we're going to get it done. So like Senator Mikulski, I believe that firmly, which is why I worked with Senator Lawler back in the day to make sure that we had a school funding system that helped jurisdictions like Prince George's County. But we also need to be impatient to get things done and deliver change, because there are a lot of speeches on Capitol Hill, but it only matters if you deliver results. So I'm going to end with this, because I am running for the United States Senate, and I would love to have your support. And let me just tell you, I'm proud to have the support of the people who I've worked with over the years to get things done in Prince George's County. I'm proud to have the support of County Executive Sharon Baker, because we work together not just to get the Multicultural Center, but I had the privilege for a period of time of representing the 47th Legislative District in Prince George's County. Just a little piece of it. But I worked hard every day. We built community centers. We got money for public safety. We got money for transportation projects. And I'm proud to have the support of all the individuals I worked with in that county and the county executive. Proud to have the support of Senator Lawler and so many others. And I'm proud to have been endorsed by SEIU. All right. SEIU, which is an organization devoted to try and strengthen working families and make sure they get a fair shake. And I'm proud to have been endorsed by the United Auto Workers, who want to bring more manufacturing back to the state of Maryland. And by the Maryland firefighters, who are ready to protect us every day when we're put in danger in our homes. So I'm proud to have been endorsed by people who work with the candidates, including the Sierra Club. I didn't mention them, but so these are organizations that want to see things done in Prince George's County and the state of Maryland and around the country, and I'm proud to have their support. And I'm grateful to have the opportunity to be here with you this evening to say a few words. So thank you very much for having me.
For question and answer. Does anyone have any questions? If so, raise your hand over here.
Congressman Van Hollen, I want to thank you for coming to Southern Prince George's County and giving us these words of encouragement. What I'd like for you to promise us is, in the event you are elected to the Senate next year, that you will come back to us and talk to us again.
I can promise you I will do that. And I can tell you that we do take really seriously, and I think other people can testify to this, is being out in the community and directly working with our constituents, whether they're individuals or different groups. Because I do believe very strongly that it's a mistake to think of the government as different silos, like the feds over here, and the state officials are here, and the local officials are here. Because when a constituent calls up, it doesn't matter to them what level of government. They want the services. And I can tell you, in the middle of the snowstorm, they call everybody. They call their member of Congress, and we try very hard. We don't say, by the way, here's the county executive, Ike Leggett, call him. We don't say that. We say, here's how you can access information about snow removal and that kind of thing. So we need to all do a better job of working together.
And the follow-on question, I'm sorry. I'm a federal employee. Please do not shut down the government.
Right here, and then Mr. Harris.
Hi, Congressman Brown Howard, you know I'm a big fan. But I do have a question about the FBI being
Yes.
here. Considering property taxes and issues with foreclosures here in Prince George's County, and the fact that government installations like the FBI are self-contained. They're going to eat within their building, they have cleaners in there, so how are the tax dollars going to come back actually to the residents and citizens of Prince George's County?
Right, you know, that's a really good point and question. One of the things that I would hope to do, if I was given the opportunity to represent the whole state, including Prince George in the Senate, is to address that, exactly that kind of thing, because you see federal facilities like the tax, you know, over in New Carrollton, you see a lot of self-contained buildings that do not benefit local businesses. And I think that we've got to do two things. Number one, we've got to work to try to make sure that those facilities are designed in a way where others who can bring businesses and restaurants around it, number one. And number two, more local hiring and certainly purchasing of goods and services. So if you're in Maryland, we want you purchasing services and goods from Maryland businesses. Now, and that's something that we can do that will help stimulate the local economy. I call it local stimulus, not just a federal stimulus. And I agree with you, that's a big part of it, because otherwise it's just people coming in and going out.
I would like to make a statement and a question. Congressman, I just want to say I'm very appreciative of all your service to the entire community and everything that you do for us by being a voice for us. You know, Prince George's County is very special to me. Judge Adams, under her leadership, she's created a Veterans Court in the courthouse. They've been very proactive in creating a drug court graduation, which is phenomenal to get people on the right path. But one thing that I'm very concerned about are the juveniles. Is there any funding that we can bring back to Prince George's County to create diversion programs rather than these children? Because they say that the mind is not mentally mature until the age of 25. And a lot of children, because everything is publicized today through Facebook, social media, Google, and everything else, that they make one wrong mistake, they're scarred for the rest of their life. And you know, I'm a believer of second and third and fourth chance. And if they're our future, if they're the ones that are going to be the next innovators of the world, what can we do together, collectively, to create some diversion programs for our youth that might have fallen on hard times that don't have parents and are just getting piped through the system?
Yeah, I agree with you 100% that we need to make sure that juvenile population, especially, I mean, I believe everybody deserves a second chance, but that group of individuals cannot be mixed in with the adult population. They need to be treated differently. I will say I was really pleased the president used his executive authority just the other day to ban juvenile solitary confinement, which is a cruel and unusual kind of punishment. We need to do that in Maryland. That's for federal prisons, the president did. We haven't done that in Maryland yet. We still have solitary confinement for juveniles. So we got a lot of work to do right here at home as we work to change this at the federal level. As Dr. Dula said when we talked about gang initiatives, I'm a big believer in prevention and intervention. Prevention to prevent people from falling into gangs or other kind of conduct early on, give people opportunities, and then when they get in trouble, to give them a path out. And so I would be honored to work with you on those issues. Thank you.
All right, now we'll go with Ms. Queen.
It was him. It was him.
Oh, you raised your
I'm
hand.
telling you it was for him. He was
Oh,
saying
okay. Mr. Bryant, you're the last one right here.
Congressman, I should echo everyone here this evening, and thanking you for coming on, and we really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you.
My question, I don't know if you were here earlier when you heard some brief conversation about introduction of Maryland legislation for voter identification in the state of Maryland. Can you comment on that? What are your feelings on that? Do you feel that Maryland should be going that direction?
No, Maryland should not be going in the direction of voter ID. And I should say this is obvious. This has been a tactic that you've seen adopted in many other states to try to limit participation in the polls, especially to limit participation of minorities and in many cases senior citizens as well, who have generally, senior citizens, for example, are much less likely to have a driver's license because they're not driving. And so this is a mechanism that has been used. I'm glad that the Justice Department has been going after some of the states that have been working hard to develop these ID requirements. A lot of them began to, they accelerated after the terrible Supreme Court decision that took a big bite out of the Voting Rights Act. A Voting Rights Act, which, by the way, passed the Congress on a bipartisan basis, which is why that decision was so sort of sickening in so many ways. Overwhelming bipartisan vote. Now, of course, now the Supreme Court took a big bite out of it. Now we can't get our Republican colleagues to reintroduce it the way they were willing to do earlier. And instead, you see a lot of these states doing exactly what you said. So no, we've got to stop any effort in Maryland to limit the polls. And I should say, didn't get a lot of attention because we rolled it back pretty quickly. There was an effort to close down a lot of the early voting centers in the state of Maryland, including in my home in Montgomery County. They were going to shut down about 3 early voting centers. It happened that the ones they were going to shut down were ones in predominantly Democratic areas, and so we fought back and we pushed back, but we have to be constantly vigilant about these underground efforts, these disguised efforts to limit access to the voting booth, because the fact of the matter is, whenever you talk to people and say, you go find me some voter fraud that you need this ID for, they can never find it. It's a red herring, and it's a backdoor way to try and limit people's access to voting.
Last question.
My question goes to, first of all, thank you again for coming out to South County. My question goes to criminal justice reform. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but I'm more concerned with the privatization of federal prison, also state. What can you do as a legislator to ensure that we don't continue to go down that road, and where we have to reverse that trend so that we can stop this?
Yep. I always have thought it was a bad idea to give somebody a financial interest in locking more people up, because that creates incentives in every part of the system for that kind of. So I'm against privatization of prison work, and I have opposed that. I will continue to look for ways to roll that back where it exists and prevent it from going forward, because I do think it has these perverse impacts. Absolutely. And well, I mean, and that's we should be looking for ways to reduce the prison population through second chance, through different kinds of detention, a whole series of things we should be doing, because it really is a national embarrassment that, as I said, we have the world's highest incarceration rate. Thank you.
So let's hear it again for Congressman Van Hollen. He's agreed to stick around for a little while with us. So thank you for all you're doing, Congressman, and I know that with you at the helm, President Obama's going to be okay. And we appreciate your support for him and all you've been doing for, as I said earlier, our children, youth, and our families. because it's much needed. And if we don't